Now, WJZ's Purple Connection, brought to you by LifeBridge Health.
And welcome into Purple Connection. I'm Alex Glaze. After a long month and 4 straight losses, the Ravens, it's Victory Monday here in Baltimore. The Ravens, without Lamar Jackson, handle business and earn their second win of the season. Tyler Huntley, signed from the practice squad, made his first start of the season, and Snoop provided that spark that the Ravens offense has been missing. The offense put up 30 points for the first time since week 3. Derrick Henry rushed for 2 touchdowns in the win, 30-16 the final. The Ravens now 2-5, still a lot of work to do, but a much-needed win for this team.
I feel better than the loss, I'll tell you that. We didn't have, but yeah, just proud of everybody. All the hard work, like I said, in preparation this week. It was great to put all the work in, let it pay off with a victory.
God, we needed a win. We were joking about before the game. It's a must-win or can't lose. Same thing. You got to get a win. And God, what a team game. Defense, offense, special teams. That's just a good Ravens team win.
Every game's a must-win at this point. It's a mentality we got to have, and it's a tough league. There's good teams in the league, and we got to find a way to win football games.
Joining me tonight, we have Tim Barblace for 105.7 The Fan and Giana of the Baltimore Banner. Guys, this is a big win for this team. Tyler Huntley leading this Ravens team to their first win without Lamar Jackson being the starting quarterback since week 16 of 2022. So this doesn't happen often here. Tim, I don't think we need to talk about how this season has gone so far, but did this win against the Bears save the Ravens season?
Oh, it definitely saved it for now, for sure. And look, it was as perfect a day as you could ask for if you're the Ravens, because the entire AFC North lost. You came out of that game relatively healthy. John Harbaugh said earlier today that, no one really got banged up all that much. And Tyler Huntley was sharp, and he was a big, big reason why they won that football game yesterday against Chicago. I felt like that was his most efficient game that we've probably seen in quite some time. The game against the Packers in 21 comes to mind, but a 116.9 passer rating, and after going 3 and out on their first possession, they scored on 6 of their last 7 drives of this football game.
Yeah, guys, I got to say, too, when you think of Tyler Huntley, we all know what he can do with his legs and the athleticism and that element that he's bringing to this offense. But, Giana, I don't know about you, but I can't recall seeing Huntley look that good when it comes to arm talent and the accuracy and just the movement in the pocket. That deep ball to Rashad Bateman in the second half kind of stands out to me. Tyler Huntley really was doing some good things out there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I haven't seen much of Tyler Huntley, I gotta say, because 2023 was an unprecedented healthy year for Lamar, so it was good that we didn't see him. So I've really only seen him in the little bits of practice since I didn't watch the Ravens prior to 2023. But he looked good. He looked accurate. He took care of the ball. Well, I wish that he maybe had converted on a few more of those red zone opportunities. I think that's going to be something against a stronger opponent. We'll come back to bite them. I can't fault the fact that he didn't turn over the ball in those situations, because that was what was killer in some of these previous games, where either his teammates or Cooper Rush turning over the ball and just killing the momentum. So he adds a little bit of that element that Lamar adds. He's not Lamar. Lamar's one-on-one, but just fits a little bit better into this offense for whatever else Cooper Rush has done in his career. He does not fit the Lamar mode the way Tyler Huntley does. So it was nice to know that if Lamar is down for a little bit and not the whole season isn't lost.
And Giana, I think you made a great point. Tyler Huntley, and really the offense as a whole, 0 turnovers. And the Bears entered that game on a 4-game winning streak, forcing 15 turnovers in that stretch. Ravens didn't turn the ball over at all, and Nate Wiggins had the interception that really changed the game.
Absolutely. All right, guys, the big story, obviously, aside from the game, is Lamar Jackson and his injury status. Obviously, he missed his 3rd straight game on Sunday. Was a full participant in practice today, but if we go back to last week, Lamar listed as limited on Wednesday and Thursday, and Friday was listed as full, but then had his status changed on Saturday after a report came out. That report suggesting that the 2-time MVP was not going to be ready for play. But John Harbaugh spoke about what has been going on with this injury status that he's calling an honest mistake.
When I knew he wasn't going to play for sure, we just declared him out. You know, that's what we did. We were hopeful. Maybe there was a chance. I probably would say it was probably an outside chance, you know, but I was still had my fingers crossed. And then it was, you know, came down from that side. And I say that side, I mean the player and the medical side. That's how it works. And so he was out.
On Sunday, guys, we heard John Harbaugh say that he's not involved in the decisions when it comes to those designations. That is all on, according to him, the athletic trainers and public relations staff. Giana, just what do you make of this whole situation with Lamar and what happened last week?
Yeah, see, I would have to look at the procedures more to know exactly whose fault it is, but does it really matter? Because it's your job, if that's what you're doing, to keep track of guys' status during practice. But out of all the guys that could be injured, Lamar Jackson is going to be that number one person that you are paying attention to for so many reasons. He's Lamar Jackson. Your whole season depends on this guy. He's the center of the team. People are waiting. I just can't believe that you wouldn't be able to tell if he truly was on the scout team, that you wouldn't be able to tell he was on the scout team. And so the definition of a full participant would be that you took full reps at your normal position. So even if he was full go at scout team, he is not at his normal position. And it's not hard to mix up what's scout team and starting. If you're going against starting defense and you don't have your stars around you, you're scout team. So it's just really hard to understand how they mix this up.
And Tim, aside from that, I mean, we're talking about Lamar leading the scout team. If he's healthy enough to be out there leading the scout team, you're 1-5. You need this win. You need your two-time MVP quarterback. You need a win here. You would think that if he was healthy enough to lead the scout team, he'd be healthy enough to play, right?
The whole situation's really puzzling, and it kind of took me back to 2021 and 2022, the two seasons in which Lamar Jackson was injured. And it was this lack of communication, lack of transparency between Lamar Jackson, between the team to the media, to the fans. And it was more of that over the weekend. And look, the NBA gambling scandal that came out last week, I would expect the NFL to make an example of the Ravens. No matter who's at fault, this was a huge oversight.
Yeah, the Ravens definitely could be subject to discipline by the league, whether it's fines or something further. Last one for you guys before we go to break here. Lamar, full participant today. Short week, Thursday, going back to Miami. Do you guys expect Lamar to return? Gianna, I'll start with you.
Well, I will say that's an estimation, right? Because it was more of a walkthrough. I think they called the outfits they wore jerseys instead of jerseys because they were half t-shirt, half jersey, which tells you about how full go they were. Probably means there was absolutely no contact. I think one guy told me he didn't even break a sweat. So estimation, can't really tell off of this. However, I would say I would have guessed that considering the short week, considering Lamar loving Miami, it's where he's from, and then the long break afterwards as a result of this short week, it does make sense for him to come back for this game. And if he doesn't come back for this game, then we really need to start asking questions about what's going on here. So I would like to think that he's going to be back for this game.
Yeah, I'm with you, Gianna. I think the quick turnaround had to be a factor in their calculation in him not playing on Sunday or Lamar deciding not to play on Sunday. But him going back to Florida, I'm sure he's going to have a lot of family and friends at that game in Miami. I would think he's going to be suiting up under the lights.
Yeah, 2 games in 5 days.
You don't have to worry about that hamstring getting cold in Miami.
Yeah, good point.
Muscles will be nice and lubricated. 2 games in 5 days was always going to be a lot to ask, especially coming off that hamstring. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are playing What's the Word? Stay with us. More Purple Connection after this.
A Purple Connection, brought to you by LifeBridge Health. This is the Purple Connection, brought to you by LifeBridge Health.
And welcome back to Purple Connection. It's time for What's the Word? I'm going to throw out a phrase, and you guys fill in the blanks. We'll fill in the blanks, I should say. All right, Tim, I'll start with you. We're talking about the performances yesterday, and there were a lot of strong performances, but I got to start with the Ravens rookie, Mike Green. He gets his first career sack. That first career sack was what?
I'll go with beautiful, man. Like, yeah, he had the chop. He beat the left tackle like right off the snap, and to get his first career sack there was huge. And I know that was only the first drive of the game, but that was a massive point, guys, because Ravens coming out of the bye, the Bears were going right down the field, running the ball up the gut, getting completions, converting third downs. If they would have scored a touchdown, much like the Texans did a couple weeks prior in their game-opening drive, I think the tenor of that game changes. Mike Green coming up with that sack on 3rd and goal was a huge point in that game, despite it being so early on.
Yeah, Tim, to piggyback on that, I'm going to say needed. I mean, we're talking about in the game situation, 3rd down, in the red zone, needed that in that moment. But also, what we're talking about, bigger picture, Tavius Robinson, down. They only had 3 outside linebackers yesterday. They've struggled with pressure. They've struggled getting that sack production. So for Mike Green to finally get there, I mean, just kind of the sky's the limit now for this kid, because, I mean, this is a guy that led college football in sacks last year. So he knows how to get to the quarterback, and now it kind of feels like he's been unleashed, Giana.
Yeah, I was going to say pivotal, which is very similar to what you guys are saying. As Tim said, it was at a very important time, game-changing in terms of the moment. And we haven't even seen the defense get stops like that lately. So just in general, change the game. And then I was thinking about your 3 outside linebackers. This is showing you a little bit of what your young guy has. So as you're deciding what you should do with this roster as a trade deadline comes up, now you can think about this guy is starting to put some things together. And I think a lot of the rookies in general came back from the bye looking better, but it was nice. I don't know if there's truth to it, but it feels like he's kind of cracking it open.
Absolutely. All right, next one, Gianna, I'll start with you. Patrick Ricard made his 2025 debut, and that debut was what?
Going with alliteration, powerful, because literally he's a powerful guy. It was a powerful moment to see him and Derrick Henry reunited. Their friendship is just so beautiful. But on top of that, he graded out really well. And it is a small sample size, but we saw the run game start to get going again with him in there. No disrespect to Zaire Mitchell-Payton, who really stepped in, but we're seeing why this man is a Pro Bowler.
I'm going to go with effective. And he didn't play many snaps, like you were saying, Gianna. I think it was 14 snaps in total, but they were effective. The Ravens ran the ball 11 times, and they passed the ball 3 times. But I want to focus on those 3 pass attempts, because when you think of Patrick Ricard, you think of the 300-pound guy that's blowing up linebackers like he did yesterday. But he also helps in the passing game, because putting him on the field, you give the threat of the run, and then you can get into play action, and it also forces defenses to get heavier. The Ravens, in those 3 passing plays with Patrick Ricard on the field, Tyler Huntley, 3 for 3, 45 yards, and a touchdown. So perfect passer rating.
I'm going to say emotional. Not for me, but for Pat Ricard. He talked after the game just about all it took to make his way back onto the field. This is a calf injury that he's been dealing with since training camp, and originally thought it was just going to be a couple weeks, then suffered a setback. He wasn't sure if he'd make it back to the field. At one point, he thought maybe this would cost him his season. So for him to work to get back to this point, and then he comes out and he gets a pancake block, and, you know, we saw the celebration after that. But to see him out there, I know because he said it was a very emotional return for him. So really cool to see that. Last one, Tim, I'll start with you. Jaire Alexander, a healthy scratch yesterday. We've seen this a couple times this season. We know this was an experiment, right? But so far, the Jaire Alexander experiment has been what?
A disaster, puzzling, insert whatever word you want, but it's been anything but good. It's been a disaster. You can go back to the Rams game where he was healthy. He was up for that game. He didn't play a single snap in it. What is going on behind the scenes here? Because this was a player, former All-Pro, 2-time All-Pro, seen as a piece that could really help this secondary, and a guy that could get takeaways, get interceptions, and now you just aren't seeing him on the football field. And it feels like we're heading towards a conclusion here in terms of a release, I would think, because think about it from Jaire Alexander's perspective. He's 28 years old. When he signed here on a 1-year, $4 million contract, he's thinking, if I ball out on this prove-it deal, I can go out and hit the market and maybe get one more payday. Right now, you got no shot at that.
Yeah, Tim, I'm actually going to kind of piggyback on what you're saying there. I'm going to say it's over. When you're on that prove-it deal, you're not out there. I'm just kind of reading between the lines here. I'm not so sure that he's healthy And it's kind of one of those things that no one's really talking about right now because there's a report that came out this week talking about the Ravens in the market for a cornerback. What are you talking about? When you think about when we were out there in the summer, that group seemed like they were the deepest. They had the most opportunity there, and then you added Jair Alexander, who's going to give that group a spark. So I think that this experiment's over, Giana.
I was going to say disappointing because when he signed here, my thought was this is the type of signing that they need to be able to be a Super Bowl contender. They've given so many guys these top of market deals. Their cap space is really tight. And when you start doing that, you're a little top heavy and you don't have room for other stars. So when you have guys who are willing to take that deal, they can make a difference and help you kind of get over that hump and get to the Super Bowl. And now, as you're saying, Alex, like, I mean, he clearly wasn't as healthy as they were hoping. And they said, like, everyone knew he was injured and they said they had a plan for him. But the plan was putting him out there in the first week and then not playing him again until it was absolutely necessary. So not only, I'm sure he's adding something behind the scenes. They've talked about the dinners that he holds, the energy he brings. But is that enough to take up that much salary slash roster space when this team has been dealing with injuries like this? I don't know, especially now that they probably should try to get a pass rusher or, I don't know, something along the O-line, or just there's so many other positions that they need to address, and he's just taking up space and not playing.
Or corner, where they reportedly are looking. That's the confusing part to me. I mean, we even go back further than week one. You know, he's here for a couple weeks, and then he's missing a large portion of training camp because he had a procedure on his knee. So the knees have been a problem. So I think that there's something that nobody's talking about. So I think that experiment is over. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we are going to check in with all the stuff that happened around the league yesterday. As Tim alluded to earlier, a big day for the Ravens when it comes to everything going their way in the AFC North. Stay with us. More Purple Connection after this.
A Purple Connection, brought to you by LifeBridge Health. The League Checkup, brought to you by LifeBridge Health. Care bravely.
And welcome back to Purple Connection. It's time for League Checkup. A lot of blowouts in the games yesterday. Not a whole lot of interesting ones if you're looking for tight contests. But if you're a Ravens fan, I mean, you couldn't have drawn it up any more perfect, right? Jets earned their first win of the season, come back and beat the Bengals, scored 23 points in the fourth quarter there. Jordan Love outduels Aaron Rodgers on Sunday Night Football. The Packers get the win in Pittsburgh. Myles Garrett records 5 sacks, but the Browns lose to the Patriots, and then Tua Tagovailoa throws 4 touchdowns, and the Dolphins stun the Falcons. And I do have to mention for our producer Ashley, because we can only fit 4 on the graphic, I mean, Jonathan Taylor, MVP? Maybe 3 touchdown performance for him yesterday. The Colts are rolling. I mean, Indiana Jones and Jonathan Taylor, it's a heck of a combo they got up there.
Well, it's a shame that MVP is just best quarterback. It's not most valuable player, it's most valuable quarterback, where the last non-quarterback to win MVP was Adrian Peterson in 2012. If there was ever a year, assuming he's able to keep this going and the Colts are able to keep it up, Jonathan Taylor deserves to be in the running for it.
I mean, I'm looking at the screen right now because I'm shocked that we have Jonathan Taylor video. Ashley she just knew that we were gonna go on about this. Okay, there we go. But Giana, I mean, the thing that stood out to me yesterday, Myles Garrett getting those 5 sacks. The Browns lose to the Patriots, but then after the game, Garrett's talking about not wanting to be. You know, it's just, dude, you know what you signed up for. You signed the contract. You demanded the trade. You got the money. You're on the Browns. That's what you get.
Yeah, I know he signed the contract, and I understand.
He demanded a trade. He demanded a trade. If you wanted to trade, stick by it.
Yes, but I my theory, and maybe it's from being in the business and not being a fan for so long, is like, if you guys truly care about him, let him go. Like, he's getting old. However you feel about him, whether you're a Ravens fan, a Cincinnati fan, a Steelers fan, like, he's good. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He deserves a ring. And that is a disaster of organization right now. They're at best rebuilding. Like, let him go. Clearly, he's still got it. He could go be on any other team. and help them get to a Super Bowl. So at the time I was like, just let him go, like just trade him. But you're right, he did actually sign the contract. Like maybe that was on him. So I don't know how much sympathy
Can't
he
blame
gets
him.
there.
I can't blame him with all that.
Hey man, everyone's got their price, but I think the sad reality when it comes to the Browns is it's the Deshaun Watson contract that's killing him, because he has his final year next year. The cap hit's insane, 50, 60 million. And then the following year, because they did so many voidable years, I think it's like a $70 million cap hit. So the Browns aren't going to do anything the next 2 years. That's Myles Garrett getting 2 years older. So I'm with you, Giana. If you're the Browns, not at the deadline, of course, but in the offseason, if you get an offer, you got to explore it.
I don't know. I mean, I just kind of, they got nothing if they got him. I mean, listen,
I
think Ravens fans would love nothing more than Myles Garrett to be out of the division. I'll tell you that right now.
Sure.
But guys, the game that also stood out to me was the Sunday Night Football game. Jordan Love just outdueling Aaron Rodgers. I mean, that Steelers offense, you know, they love to muck it up, make it ugly, and they did that in the first half. But the second half, the Steelers defense had no answer for Jordan Love. I mean, I think at one point, did he hit 20 straight completions? 20. I mean, just an incredible second half performance from Jordan Love in that Packers offense.
The Steelers defense has massive issues. They've given up over 30 points, in 4 of their 7 games. The Browns, the Jets put up over 30 points on them. They went out and revamped their entire secondary this offseason. You brought in Darius Slay. You brought in Jalen Ramsey. And they have the worst pass defense in football. They're 32nd. They allow over 270 passing yards per game. And they're the highest paid defense in all of football. They're not going anywhere with that defense.
Yeah, and Giana, as now we get ready for Thursday Night Football, and Tua Tagovailoa, he throws 4 touchdowns with really one good eye. One of his eyes was swollen shut almost. What are you expecting to see from the Dolphins? I mean, I think that when we're talking about teams that are kind of at the bottom, looking at their season might be over, the Dolphins, I would think, were one of those teams, but they look like they were pretty tough in Atlanta yesterday.
I believe one of my friends made a joke about whether he has like astigmatism or something, where maybe he actually sees better out one eye because he went crazy after he hurt his eye. But what that makes me think is you got to get Lamar back, because even, Tyler Huntley did great. I just don't see the Ravens winning a shootout, if that's what it comes to. The defense has been playing better, but I don't think they're ready for a shootout, and I don't think Tyler Huntley is ready for a shootout either. So, momentum is everything. They're going to be at home. They're going to be hyped up, especially knowing who's coming in there. So I think they're in for a bit of a fight. I wouldn't have said that probably at the beginning of this year, but now with how this season has gone, I definitely think it's going to be more of a fight.
All I'm going to say, Lamar, South Florida boy, so is Tyler Huntley. So a little homecoming for Tyler Huntley as well. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We come back, we're going to wrap things up and show you our question of the week. Stay with us. More Purple Connection after this.
The Purple Connection, brought to you by LifeBridge Health. And now, Game Day Advice, brought to you by Rice Law. For the best advice, call Rice.
And welcome back to Purple Connection. Let's wrap things up with our game day advice. And our advice is let the hometown kid shine. Assuming Lamar Jackson is going to be back, he's a South Florida native, loves playing the Dolphins. 2-2 with 1,200 passing yards, 14 touchdowns, 1 interception. Lamar's also 4-3 on Thursday Night Football. We know Lamar loves those bright lights. And guys, our question of the week as we look forward to the Dolphins game, but then also a little bit beyond that. What has to happen for the Ravens to get back into the playoff race? With everything going the way that it did yesterday, I believe a win on Thursday would put the Ravens 1.5 games behind the Steelers. So, Tim, I'll start with you. What has to happen for the Ravens to get back in this thing?
And the Steelers have the red-hot Colts coming to Pittsburgh. The easy answer is get Lamar Jackson healthy, but I'll go to another one. Have this defense continue this trajectory they've been on. Not that they've been dominant, but this has been some competent defense back-to-back games. You held the Rams to 17 points. The Bears, you held them to 16 points. That was their lowest scoring output of the season. Clearly moving Kyle Hamilton closer to the line of scrimmage, in the box, in the slot, has really helped this defense. And while it wasn't consistent pressure yesterday, they were able to get timely pressure. Kyle Hamilton getting that pass rush to force intentional grounding on Caleb Williams, and Mike Green going back to his first career sack.
Yeah, Giana, really quick, we have about 20 seconds for you. How do you think the Ravens get back in the playoff picture?
I think they need to keep the fire going. I think they had the potential, and they just need to mind their P's and Q's and play with that aggressiveness that they talked about through all of training camp.
I think it's a one-word answer: win. That's going to do it for Purple Connection. For Tim Barblace and Giana, I'm Alex Glaze. We'll be back next Monday. Another Purple Connection. Have a good night.